Hey, what's up everyone, and welcome to another box office related video. And before I start, I just want to say that I was supposed to have a new recent pickups video today. I was also actually supposed to have an Xbox 360 collection update, but those two are going to be postponed. I'm going to do a Gore's recent pickups tomorrow, and the Xbox collection update should be up either Friday or sometime the weekend. So look forward to that, because that's going to be a huge video. I have over 700 games to show off, so it's going to be either a very long video, or it's going to be multiple long videos. We'll see, because last time I did 3 parts, so most likely it'll be 3 or 4 parts, but maybe I'll just make it one long ass video. We'll see. But anyway, now I am here to talk about the box office, of course, and usually I talk about the box office after the weekend is over and I tell you what won and whatnot, but I want to start doing this on maybe Wednesdays, maybe Thursdays, who knows. I want to start talking about the box office predictions, my predictions for what will win at the box office. And today, I think this weekend at least, is a very good one to start off with, because this is the 6th weekend for Black Panther and the 1st weekend for the brand new movie Pacific Rim Uprising. And not only that, we have other movies. We have Paul, Apostle of Christ, which is another religious film coming out this weekend. We have Unsane, directed by Steven Soderbergh, of course, but we also have Romeo and Juliet 2, Sherlock Gnomes, which I am so happy is out, so I don't ever need to see that trailer again. That trailer, I get PTSD every time I think about the freaking gnome shaking its ass. And we also have Midnight Sun, starring Bella Thorne, which is a romance movie about a bunch of teenagers, pretty teenagers loving each other and all that good stuff. So we have a lot of movies coming out this weekend, and of course holdovers and whatnot. So let's get to it. I'm going to actually tell you what I think will be number 1 through number 10. Before we get to that, let me just tell you right here, of course, the big movie is Pacific Rim Uprising, and I am very excited for this movie. I am a huge fan of the original movie. I love Pacific Rim. I thought it was really fun, really goofy, but cheesy, and in a perfect way. The visuals were stunning. The action was spectacular. All the designs, all that stuff. The direction from Guillermo del Toro was really great. I love that movie. I really do. I could watch it any day. I've watched it so many times. So I couldn't wait for a sequel, and when I heard it was canceled, I was upset. Then it got brought back. I was like, yay. And then Guillermo del Toro said, I'm not directing it. So I was like, oh. And then they changed the name and it got delayed a bunch. I was like, is this movie ever going to come out? And 5 years later, it's finally coming out. But the thing is that I don't think this movie is going to do very well at the box office. Do I think it's going to be number 1? I'll tell you right here. Yes, I do think it's going to be number 1 at the box office. But that's only because everything else coming out is going to be either smaller releases, or we have Black Panther, which is on its 6th weekend. So if this came out like at the beginning of March, it would have been screwed. It would definitely not been number 1. But because it's coming out late March, I think it will have enough in it to actually make enough to have its number 1 spot and dethrone the king, T'Challa, at the box office. Alright, so now let's get into my predictions for the weekend. We're going to start off with number 1, like I said, will be Pacific Rim Uprising, and I think it's going to make $24.5 million at the box office. That's what I think it's going to make just in America. So don't worry. I think it's going to do extremely well in Asian markets. In China, I could see it doing like just overall around another $150 to $170 million. I'm not talking about for the weekend. I'm just talking about overall. For the weekend, maybe like 60, 70 million. I'm pretty sure it's opening globally this weekend too. So it is coming out in Asian markets the same time as American. But I don't think it's doing very well here. It's going to do enough to be number 1. It's just not going to do well enough to make it look like this franchise has a future. But who knows? Maybe it's going to do extremely well in Asian markets, just like the original. It did do that, and now we have that sequel, so who knows? Maybe in another 5 years we'll have Pacific Rim 3, Revelations or something. I don't know. I hope not. That would be a generic-ass title. But there you go. That's what I think will be number 1. Number 2, of course, will be Black Panther. I think it's going to gross about $18.6 million this weekend for its 6th weekend. And that's really damn good. That's a great hold for a movie like this, which is a big blockbuster. Usually big blockbusters drop pretty quickly. This one said, nah, I ain't going anywhere. The king is staying. And it's going to reign supreme. Now, could this movie be number 1 this weekend? There's a huge possibility that Pacific Rim bombs even bigger than I thought it would. And it grosses way less than Black Panther. So we could see a 6th weekend reign from Black Panther. Who knows? I really don't know. Like, this is what I predict is going to be number 2 this time, but I don't know. It could be number 1. I'm just saying, but I think it's going to drop about 35% this week, maybe 40% to $18.6 million, which is still a damn good hold. So congrats to Black Panther for making as much money as it did, because man, oh man, I can't wait for that Avengers movie too. Oh, it's gonna be good. All right, so number 3 is gonna be Sherlock Gnomes with its freaking twerking gnomes. I can't believe I said that. I can't believe that's real. Oh god. So I think this movie's gonna make $15.6 million. There's not really many kid films out right now. Wrinkle in Time didn't do so well, and kids didn't really care for it. And when I talk about kid films, I mean like really dedicated to kids. Like, that is just all colorful and stupid and just dumb jokes, fart jokes, all that stuff. And there hasn't been one in a little while, I feel. So Sherlock Gnomes will definitely take that place, and I think $15.6 million is an accurate assumption, I think. Number 4 will be the second weekend for I Can Only Imagine, which I think is going to do extremely well in its second weekend. I just remember when War Room and Fireproof came out. Those are 2 huge Catholic Christian themed films that did very well in its first weekend and then just kept doing extremely well after its first weekend. Like second weekend, third weekend, fourth weekend, especially War Room. War Room never dropped and it made tons of money. So I think it's going to be very similar because everybody's loving this movie. Even people that aren't Christian are actually really enjoying this film. And I actually might end up seeing it just to see what all the fuss is about. So I think it's going to do $12.2 million this weekend, which is a great hold considering it made $17 million last weekend. So $12 million, that's a fantastic hold, and I think it's going to be number 4. Number 5, I think it's going to be Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider is going to drop around 50%. It'll be $11.7 million this weekend, which isn't too bad of a hold considering not many people really liked it when it first came out. Also, it's doing extremely well in foreign markets, so I think this will inch its way to about $70 million in America, and worldwide it'll get around $300 million. That's not too bad for a $94 million budgeted film. Will we see a sequel? I don't know, but they will definitely either make a little bit of a profit or just get straight to covering their expense, I guess. Number 6, I think, will be A Wrinkle in Time, which has not been doing extremely well in the box office, but luckily the budget is only $103 million. So I don't think Disney's really too worried about it. I think it's going to make $9.6 million this weekend, a drop of around maybe like 35 to 40%. Last weekend, it only dropped 50%, and I feel like movies like this usually tend to drop big in its second weekend and then start to hold up in its third and fourth weekends. So I think it's going to drop, I'd say about 40%, $9.8 million. Not too bad of a hold for it. And I think overall it'll probably get close to around $75-80 million in America. Not a bad hold at all for a movie I do not like personally, but you know, I didn't hate it, I guess. So if it ends up somehow doing extremely well and holding extremely well and actually making a profit, I wouldn't be upset about it. I'd just be like, oh, whatever. At least it was different enough. I mean, I didn't like it, but it was different. I'll give it that. It's not just some generic ass movie, but I didn't care for it. Number 7, I think, will be Midnight Sun. Bella Thorne is kind of popular, I think, at this point, and there's not really many romantic movies out there right now. I guess I Can Only Imagine is part romantic film, but I think it's mainly a Christian themed film. So Midnight Sun, I think that's going to be a movie that, you know, girls and guys, especially young couples, will want to go see, especially women. So I think they're going to want to see that. I think it's going to make about $9 million this weekend. Not too huge, but not too bad. Speaking of romance films, number 8, I think it's going to be Love, Simon in its second weekend. I think it's going to make about $7.1 million. It's going to hold pretty well, around 40% drop compared to its first weekend, which it only made about, what, $11.5 million, which was way less than I thought it would. But I think it's going to hold pretty well, and throughout the weekends, I think it's going to do good enough, and I think it's going to be a movie people will remember after the next few weeks. It won't be forgotten like a lot of these other movies. So that's not bad. That's a pretty good hold. Number 9 is going to be a brand new Christian themed film. This one's very Christian themed. Paul, Apostle of Christ is coming out in like 1,400 theaters. I think that's actually going to do around $5 million. It's hard to say for these Christian themed movies because you never know which one's going to do huge or which one's not going to do huge. Like I Can Only Imagine, I thought would be one of those movies that just fades away, like that Samson movie that came out last year. I mean, not last year, last month. And some of the other Christian themed movies like God's Not Dead 2, those movies kind of disappeared really quickly. I thought it would be like that, but it's not. So I have no clue really. This one is Christ themed, obviously. We're very Christ themed, obviously, even though it's about Paul, his apostle, but still it's Christ related. So I could see this one doing a little bit better. I'm going to say $5 million. I could be wrong, could be right. I could be terribly wrong. It makes like 20 million. Who knows? I'm going to say 5 million. I think that's a good assumption. Number 10, and this is my final prediction, I think Unsane will actually make number 10 with $4.6 million. The reason why I think so low is because there's not too much marketing for the film. The trailers have been damn good, and every time I saw the trailer in a theater, people were really reacting to it like, oh, that looks really interesting. The thing is, it's only coming out in, I think, a little over 2,000 theaters. Also, the whole gimmick of this movie is that it's shot all on an iPhone 7, and that's cool and all, but that might not entice a lot of people to go see it. Also, it doesn't have huge star power. I know Claire Foy is really popular from The Crown, but besides that, she hasn't really been in any movies. So I could see this doing okay for the budget. I'm sure the budget was very small, but I don't see it doing extremely well. I'm very excited to see it, actually. This and Pacific Rim I'm very excited for. So I'm going to say $4.6 million at the box office. I think that's a pretty good assumption. So there you go. That is my top 10 predictions. I think Pacific Rim will be number 1, but I do not think it's going to do well. And that's sad because I'm really excited to see it. I really am. I heard it's not great, but I am excited to see it. But besides that, that is my predictions. Please, in the comments, tell me your predictions to what will win and lose and whatnot at the box office. I would love to read them because I want to know what other people think. Of course, I always love to hear what you guys think. Even if I don't reply to comments, I always read them. So anyway, there you go. Thank you, and until next time, goodbye.